if you haven't seen this, we got to sit down and talk about some things. And please be sure to answer that poll question as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene just had an interview with Tim Dillon. And she's not just calling out the Republican Party. I mean, we told you guys before, she has been calling out Israel. She's talking about some of these economic matters. And it made me wonder, the subject of healthcare also came up. And I am wondering if she could be moved maybe towards universal healthcare. I don't know. This interview is getting a lot of attention. You guys, if you haven't seen the full one, you need to see the full one. But let's start with this part right here.
Sayings. And I'm so disgusted with Washington, D.C. I hate politics. The two-party system is extremely broken. It is failing all of us. And when I look at, here goes another $100 billion to Ukraine or $30 billion to Israel, but yet nobody can afford health insurance premiums. And then I'm getting yelled at by my Republican colleagues for saying that out loud. I'm like, this is insane.
You've been a leading voice.
That was interesting when she said the two-party system is broken, right? That's the first time I've heard her say that. So I don't know. And I told you guys before, I don't know what's happening with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe she does have different political aspirations. Maybe she wants to run for something else. I don't know. But I had never seen her call out even her own party the way that she is now. And it does tell me that she is listening to what some of her constituents are saying about their economic needs and those things not being met. Let's continue.
Trump campaigned on transparency. His administration campaigned on the idea of reducing, if not eliminating, corruption in Washington. It's going to be hard to eliminate it, but campaigned on reducing corruption. We have a situation now where I don't know, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. Was it how many Republican congressmen and senators voted to keep the Epstein files secret? Right? I mean, isn't this? I mean, I'm confused, right? I'm also confused that an administration that runs on America first is we're still arming the Ukraine.
Yep.
We're still funding the Ukraine. We've hopefully just got a peace deal done with Israel and Hamas. But we've given Israel lots and lots of money. Are you confused? Because a lot of us are confused in terms of what's happening. Why are the Epstein files not coming out? And why are we unable to pull the plug on some of these foreign entanglements that are costing us billions, if not trillions of dollars?
Great questions. And I'll tell you, I've been strapped in a front row seat into all of this for about 5 years now. So I'm always a very early indicator. And I think there's a lot. Look, I'm MAGA through and through. There is nobody can challenge my credentials. I mean, I was never a never Trumper.
Right.
I was always 100% Donald Trump, 100% America first. But here we are, and I'm an action person. I'm like, don't tell me you're going to do these things and not do them. And that's what I've always been upset over, right? And when we're looking at, it's like, what are we getting? Here we are. What are we, 9 months, 10 months in? Tomahawk missiles got the president, and I love him, signed off on Tomahawk missiles to be given to Ukraine. That's not going to bring peace.
No.
I'm very grateful that he is ending the war and doing everything he can to end the war.
And he should be given credit for that.
100%. Oh my gosh. He genuinely
100%
for Israel and Gaza. Okay. Release the hostages all day long, but for the love of God, these people in Gaza have been brutally murdered. And
let me stop here. So as I said before, for those who are not aware, Israel already broke that ceasefire. They've already killed Palestinian people starting on Monday. And then also, of course, Tuesday as well. Just FYI, I believe this interview was recorded before that, but just letting you guys know. But even when it comes to the people in Gaza, this is not the message or the attitude that she had October 23rd. October 2023. Even in 2024, she did not have this type of attitude and this type of response to the people in Gaza. So just FYI, that's why I'm like, what is happening there? And you guys do know that there is a segment of MAGA, and then some that are not MAGA, but they're conservative, that have been calling out what Israel is doing and don't want U.S. money going to Israel, and have been calling it a genocide in Gaza. So I don't know what it was that made her move on that issue. Maybe because it was happening under Donald Trump and not happening under Joe Biden. I don't know. But I know that she was criticizing the pro-Palestinian protesters not too long after October 7th, also in 2024. So I don't know I'm not sure what changed there.
And it's over the top. And the IDF is still unbelievably controlling and brutal to people at checkpoints. It's not just Muslims. It's also Christians that live there. It's everybody. And I'm really thankful that he's worked hard on that. But what are we doing? We're buying out and doing a buyout with Argentina? Like, huh? $20 billion?
$20 billion.
Bailing them out?
Then he just did a concert. I don't know if you saw the president of Argentina was singing and dancing. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, again, a lot of people I know cannot afford to buy a house.
Yep.
They're not working. You recently said something, I think, about healthcare, which we'll talk about later on.
But let's go back to transparency, because I don't want to let that go.
Yeah.
Everyone that voted for Trump Vance, everyone was like, release the Epstein files.
Right.
This is not even an argument. It's not even debatable. It's not being a traitor to the president to sign my name on a Thomas Massey discharge petition to release the Epstein files. No. I am staying true to what we've always said. There needs to be transparency. But the things that have shocked me this past week, and I was thinking about it this morning, I was like, I've been here in Washington all week, and I've been at my office. I've been in the Capitol. There's two things I couldn't find this week. I couldn't find anywhere the Epstein files, and I also couldn't find the Republican plan to fix the absolutely destroyed health insurance industry that got wiped out in 2015 with Obamacare.
Yeah.
Like, those are the two things I can't find. And when Republicans, and I'm criticizing also Congress big time. I'm really grateful to a lot of the things the president is doing, but I'm really upset with the direction Congress is going. But when we are not doing anything to address the cost of living, we aren't doing anything about Blackstone buying up houses where most young people can't find a house and they're having to compete in bidding wars.
Right.
And we're not doing anything about health insurance premiums. Then for the love of God, what are we doing?
But see, here's the thing, guys. This is what many of us have been talking about on the left for a long time. People can't buy homes. People can't come up with a down payment, right? We've been talking about this for a long time, but I feel like even back then it was framed as, oh, that's radical communism. You guys are radical socialists. And from MTG too, like she had that same opinion. It seems as though to me, and people are pointing out her kids are, I guess, like in their early 20s, they are now being impacted. And one of the things I warned you guys about was with the way that the economy is going, the red states, the rural areas are going to get hit the hardest, especially with the healthcare issues, because those states don't have as much funding. We get hit here in Massachusetts too. Don't get me wrong. We get here as well. But Massachusetts has more money than Georgia. Massachusetts has more money than Tennessee. So when those states get hit like that, and I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene is from rural Georgia, from what I understand, they don't have the money in the state budget to help when these things happen. So maybe people on the right need to hear her saying it. Sometimes people are more willing to listen when it comes from someone that's a part of their party. Maybe just like when Candace was talking about Gaza, maybe that's what needs to happen. I don't know. But I feel like, many of us have been talking about that for years. about the cost of living and how people can't buy houses. She mentioned Blackstone. Blackstone has been buying houses, BlackRock, like that's been going on for a long time. And it's just gotten to the point where the way that we are going about things economically for working class people is not sustainable, period. And what it seems like to me is now she's impacted because her kids are impacted. Her constituents are impacted. So that could be what is driving things here. I don't know. But we've been saying these things. Like, you know what I mean? Like for a long time. Let's continue on a little bit more here.
Right. Why are the Epstein files such, I mean, we could all imagine why they're such a the third rail of American politics. Is it because a foreign government or an ally of America was blackmailing our politicians? We don't want that out. Is that a crazy thing to suggest? Is that a wild thing to say? Or is that, in your estimation, a very likely and possible reason that these things are not coming out?
Well, I can actually, Ty, will you look and get my purse and hand me my purse?
Do you have the Epstein files? If you have the Epstein files in your purse right now, we're going to get more views than we ever have. I pray she's about to take the Epstein files out of this. If
you know that was not happening.
Take the Epstein files out of this purse right now, I'm telling you, we'll get so much YouTube revenue. I'll buy houses for the people that can't afford them.
I'm gonna read you a little list that Thomas Massey read.
Okay.
And I can only read it because he's already read it on the House floor.
This is the most heinous crime ever, by the way. It's crimes against children.
Okay, these poor women, by the way.
Yeah.
These poor women.
Right.
Raped. They went in front of the biggest press conference I've ever seen in Washington and stood in front of cameras, shaking, terrified, and talked about being raped when they're 14 years old.
Jesus.
I mean, and there's known hundreds of them, but they think there's an estimated 1,000 or more of women. And these women are begging. They've done everything they can, everything they know how. They went to the police. They've filed lawsuits. They have done everything they can, and they're terrified. There's a group of them. It's not all of them. There's a smaller group of them that really say that it wasn't just him. And they are scared to release the names, and it's understandably so, because when you release big names like that,
you get sued.
Absolutely.
Or killed. I mean, let's keep it real. Not just sued or probably killed. Here's the thing here. Remind me, guys, wasn't Marjorie Taylor Greene one of the politicians during the Biden administration that was speaking heavily about the Epstein files? Wasn't she one of the ones, like, even in her community where members or her constituency were very upset about that and calling for the Epstein? You'll have to remind me. I could have sworn she was one of the ones that were doing that. And so if that's the case, now that Trump is president and the Trump administration had said that they were going to release that information, I wonder if some of her constituents came forward to her and said, hey, you supported Trump. You told us to support Trump. He promised that he was going to release this information. Why is it not getting out? I thought she was one of the ones that was saying that under the Biden administration. So just something to think about.
Right.
Get sued into the ground. Now Thomas Massey read, and we don't have those names yet. Okay. Just to be clear, we don't have those names, but we have a description of them.
Okay.
So let's go over this descriptive list.
Yes.
All right. And then people can really understand why these women, and why I myself said, I'm not suicidal.
Right.
But I am afraid of, this has been so suppressed. It has been so covered up, and it makes no sense. But let's just go through a few things. A Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million. A royal prince. A high-profile individual in the music industry, a very prominent banker, a high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, half a dozen billionaires, including one from Canada. So, and Thomas Massey read that on the House floor. So this is okay to say. It's already been said.
Right.
And we have speech and debate clause. We can talk about this.
Right.
However, when you think about a list like that, those are very powerful people with a lot of influence. And that's just the list of these people. It doesn't include the foreign country governments that Jeffrey Epstein was involved in.
Right.
The circles that he walked in, the business that he was able to do. And this guy didn't seem that impressive to be able to end up in that kind of position.
Right.
So that's an important point that's brought up there. As I was going to tell you guys, I still believe the magician is probably David Copperfield. If I were to make a guess, read Whitney Webb's books. If you guys haven't done so, Whitney went into this very extensively. I would, if I had to make a guess, I would assume the magician is David Copperfield. I would assume the prince that's referenced there is probably Prince Andrew, which we all, kind of know about that. He was arrested and then basically got away with what he did. But I don't think he's the only prince. I think there's others. And as much as MAGA exclaimed about protecting children, all under the Biden administration, there was a movie made about all this, protect the kids and all that type of stuff. The fact that now so many have become silent because Trump goes, nothing to see here, just keep it moving. That goes to tell you it's not really about the children. It's not really about the position. It's just partisan. You're following what's happening partisan politics. You wanted it to happen under Biden because the Democrats were in charge. You wanted it to happen under Trump because he said he would do it. Then he said he's not going to do it and said there's nothing to see here. So because it's your party, you just dismiss it and move on. That tells me it's not about the issue. People got to pay attention to that type of stuff. The healthcare part here, I do want to play because I want to see what the answer is for that poll. Listen to this part.
Has the administration done enough to help the quality of people's lives?
At this point, inflation is stabilizing sort of, but prices have not come down at all.
The job market is weakening.
Job market is still extremely difficult.
Right.
Wages have not gone up. Health insurance premiums are going to go up. Car insurance goes up every year. People's homeowners insurance goes up. Rent is going up. Young people have no hope of buying a home. And then when they try to buy a home, they end up, like I said, competing with like Blackstone or somebody else.
The average home buyer now is 38 years old. It just came out.
Right.
The average home buyer, 38.
38. Some of our parents bought homes before they were 38. Some of our grandparents bought homes before they were in their 30s. Like, go back to the days when people were able to live off one income and, someone was able to stay at home and watch the kids and you didn't have to pay for daycare. But that's what we've been talking about. That's what the left has been talking about for years. And when we were talking about these things, there were many people that were part of MAGA that basically just looked at us and said, that's socialism. Socialism isn't even a scary word anymore. I don't know why people try to use that word anymore. It's the same thing they're doing right now with Zoran Mondami. Like, that's communism. It's ridiculous. But it's not socialism or communism when we give money to other countries. When we give all that money to bail out Argentina, that wasn't socialism or communism.
On the flip side, baby boomers can't sell their homes.
Right.
They pay massive capital gains taxes. They don't know, what do I move to? How do I downsize? I can't replace what I have.
Right.
So there are problems on both ends.
Right.
These are the issues that matter so much to Americans. These are the issues. I know people that literally, some of my own personal family members, some of my own personal friends, they're getting by month to month, charging up their credit cards. Literally, that's how they're getting by, charging up their credit cards. And no, all I've seen is a revolving door of foreign leaders in the White House. That's all I've seen.
Qatar.
Of course.
All these different countries that are positioning themselves as, as
Yes.
partners of, America.
Right. So I do appreciate the president's efforts. He's trying to end wars. He's also trying to make it fair again for American trade. But at the same time, that is bumpy. It's bumpy.
It's bumpy.
And I'm talking to major manufacturing companies they're saying we support the president. We support what he's trying, his long-term goal, but we're having problems with these tariffs. And
there it is.
Now we're having problems. We can't get supplies from this country and we can't get supplies from this country. And there's problems, but have regular people's bank accounts been affected? Has the stress come off? No, that has not happened yet. And that needs to be the major focus. It shouldn't be about helping your crypto donors or your AI donors or welcoming in these people that hated you and spent money to try to beat you, but all of a sudden are excited to come out to the new Rose Garden patio.
Yes.
That shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be the people that showed up at the rallies, stood there for freaking 18 hours trying to get in the rain, in the cold, in the 100-degree heat. For those people, those are the ones that I care about. Those are the ones that voted for not only the president, but every single Republican, gave us power. I don't think those people are being served.
And that's the constituency. That's
Right.
the one that matters.
To me, that's the only one that matters.
That's the only one that matters.
That's the only one that matters.
You're not concerned if Sam Altman has enough money, or Elon, or the Tim Cook, or Mark Zuckerberg.
No,
They seem to be doing fine.
they're doing just fine.
They seem to be doing fine. Why do so few people talk like you're talking? And when people say things like this, it's very obviously popular with people that are looking for anyone to have these thoughts, right? Like some people would accuse you and they go, that sounds socialist. That sounds,
Right.
There's a lot of people that'll come out and go, you sound like a socialist. You sound like Bernie Sanders. You're using words that people can, liken to Marxism or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will say that. What happened to you? That's the narrative right now.
That is
what
the
happened,
narrative.
right? What happened to Marjorie?
I
This is
know.
what people are saying. Like, people are saying what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
It's the funniest thing to me.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is?
Yeah.
I'm literally, nothing happened to me.
Right. Right.
I'm saying the same thoughts and feelings that I've always had,
yeah.
but I'm not willing to wear the Republican jersey.
Right.
And I'm not willing to be a cheerleader. I'm not a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a cheerleader. Here's the thing is, so for example, okay, let's take health insurance for example.
Before they get to health insurance, I don't remember her saying those things before. I don't remember her saying those things before, especially when it comes to like some of those statements there about the cost of living. Maybe I missed it, but I don't remember her saying those things before. And that's why people are saying, whoa, what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene? You know what I mean? So listen to this part here about health insurance. This is another one that's going to blow your mind.
I'm a conservative, and I can say we're $37 trillion in debt. We cannot afford a socialized healthcare plan in America. We literally cannot. But at the same time, I can say we sent almost $300 billion to Ukraine. We sent $30 billion to Israel in 2024 alone. I can say we definitely should extend these ACA tax credits, and we need to build an off-ramp because it'll cost $30 billion a year to do it. We can build an off-ramp and open up a new system that will serve every American. Yeah.
Right.
So my conservative friends will say, Marjorie, no, we cannot do that. We cannot spend that money on that. But I'm not willing to allow millions of Americans, people I personally know, constituents in my district, I'm not willing to allow their premiums to double and triple overnight starting in January of 2026. I'm willing to say, no, we're going to have to fund it, but we're going to have to build an off-ramp and build into a new system. And that's not me being a socialist. That's not me going against my conservative values. That's saying stop sending the money to all these foreign countries and let's actually spend it on Americans and actually fix the system.
Did everybody catch when she said, people I personally know? That part right there is important. So she knows people who have been impacted by it. The rural areas, as I said before, when they make like cuts to healthcare and all this stuff, the rural areas get hit the hardest. And the rural areas in the red states, they get hit harder because the states don't have as much funding. So that's something to think about. Now, she says like, well, we can't afford, socialist medicine, or basically she's talking about universal health care. We actually can afford that. The research was done on that years ago. And not only that, there's other things that we can afford if we don't have a defense budget that's over $850 billion. And it wasn't always that way. That's where a lot of the money is going. So we could afford it. The other thing I would say is, notice she still says that she loves Trump. I think that's part of the problem. I think she needs to completely detach herself from Donald Trump. That's just my take on that. Thomas Massie, in some ways, has done that. But all these things that she's complaining about, yeah, some of it is because of Congress, but some of it is because of Donald Trump. But it's really weird to me how she's moving now on some of these issues. So that makes me think, is she going to try to run for a different position? Like, yeah, obviously she probably wants to get reelected, but does she have future ambitions beyond being a congresswoman? And that's something I think people need to think about. Let's see that poll. Because I did ask you guys, do you think that she could be swayed on this? So we have 1,941 votes. Do you believe MTG could be convinced to back universal health care? 31% said yes. 17% said hell no. 33% said there's a chance. And 19% said I have no idea. That's actually a pretty well-balanced. Those results are pretty well-balanced, actually. It's interesting. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.